Hi, this is Steve at HeavenlySign2017.com. First, a few viewer questions. Would you explain Luke 17:21? Neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. The way I understand this is that they were expecting a conquering Messiah to deliver them from Roman oppression, not a suffering servant. They didn't recognize the time of their visitation. He will, in chapter 19, criticize them for this, warning them of the temple's coming destruction. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace. But now they are hid from thine eyes, for the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, encompass thee around, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. Luke chapter 19, 41 through 44. Now the word that he used in 17:21 is a word meaning inside you or in the midst of. Literally, the kingdom of God is in the midst of you all, and that's plural. In other words, it now presently is. They were being explicitly told that they would only find what they were seeking inside themselves at that present time, and that by recognizing that he was their Messiah and he had come offering the kingdom, but by their rejection of their king, they therefore rejected the kingdom of God and were blinded as a result. I was asked about the possibility of the dispensations overlapping. Some see no problem with the two dispensations overlapping. I can continue to maintain that the church plays no part in Daniel's 70th week, and that God does not even turn his attention back to Israel and begin dealing with her in order to complete his program for Israel until he has completed his program for the church. First things first. And that it's the church's very removal that is necessary for that to occur. The problems that I see with a late fall rapture timeline beginning on any date. Well, I've yet to have anyone tell me how that Jesus fulfills 3 required feasts after he returns late October 2024. Does he wait almost a whole year before fulfilling the first one of the 3? Because he would return far into month 8 after the feasts occurred in month 7. That's why this doesn't work for me. November 2 or November 3 of 2017 plus 25 50 days equals October 26 of 2024. Month 8. It misses month 7 entirely. November 2, 2017 plus 25 20 days is 9/26/24. Still misses everything. Trump's atonement, tabernacles in the 8th day, solemn assembly. It just doesn't work. The same is true for the October 30/31, 2017 proposed rapture date. It just doesn't work. Some are saying that November 2 and 3 begins the 70th week of Daniel. It cannot. The 70th week of Daniel cannot begin until the church has been raptured. And a November 2 or November 3, 2017 rapture date plus 25 50 days, because we have to have 25 50 days from rapture to return, has Jesus returning after the fall feasts have occurred in 2024. In simple terms, the timeline doesn't work, and the church cannot be carried over into Daniel's 70th week, which would be a serious breach of Scripture as far as I'm concerned. I was asked about the sign of the Son of Man being related to the Revelation 12 sign. The sign of the Son of Man is not the Revelation 12 sign. The text says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. We will be returning with him at this point. We read this in Matthew 24, which is, in the context, is the day of the Lord, which is the tribulation period. The Revelation 12 sign was not the sign of the Son of Man. This occurs at the end of the Great Tribulation period, just before Jesus returns at his second coming. So I want to talk about the support for a spring 2018 Pentecost rapture. I'm seeing strong evidence build for a Pentecost rapture. The evidence is mounting. I said I was going to delve deeper into this. I have, and I'll continue to do so. There are a lot of Pentecost rapture possibility indicators. We're talking about this being associated with marriage, the bride, even Luke 12:40, when you least expect, not at the sign or September or October, but he said when you would least expect, and this is definitely what we didn't expect. Not related to the fall feasts. We are the church, composed of Jew and Gentile. We're not Israel. And God will not turn his attention back to Israel until the church age is complete. Spring comes before fall. First things first. And I've defined the nature of this wedding banquet many times in past videos. The invitation to come into the wedding banquet is because the marriage has already occurred in heaven. Tribulation saints are invited to this wedding feast in the tribulation period, not church age saints. The feast describes the entire millennial age, where some accept the invitation and some don't. Christ introduces his bride to his friends Israel at the marriage supper, or the wedding feast or banquet, whatever translation that you're using there. And this is a parabolic picture of this whole entire wedding feast is a parabolic picture of that time period that begins with the millennium, and it continues on throughout the entire millennium. We're going to have 1,000-year supper. That's the truth of it there. Pentecost comes in the early summer, mid-May, mid-June. It's the only Levitical feast day between the three spring feasts, Passover, unleavened bread, and first fruits, and the three in the fall, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Tabernacles. The Hebrew name for this day is Shavuot, which means weeks. So in Israel, it's often called the Feast of Weeks. I refer you back to the video I published before Pentecost 2017, where there was a lot of buzz going on about, the Pentecost rapture occurring in 2017, where I rejected a Pentecost rapture on the basis of the fact that the day counts were not impressive. But in 2018, it's different. The dates are impressive, very impressive, in fact. We have the Ruth and the Boaz Pentecost rapture connection. In synagogues, the book of Ruth is read on Pentecost. The story of Ruth has been called the romance of redemption, with Naomi in the role of Israel, destitute and alone, Ruth as the church, the Gentile bride, and Boaz as the Messiah, and the story itself as a prediction of the relationship that would involve all three of them. In the process of redeeming Israel, the Messiah takes a Gentile bride. In doing so, he saves both from their destitute condition, and he restores Israel's land. The identification of the church with Pentecost began in the prophecies of Ruth. And then we have the Enoch Pentecost connection. Tradition states that Enoch, who was taken live, raptured into heaven before the great flood, which I see as highly supportive of the pre-trib rapture of the church, was born on the day later to be known as Pentecost. And then we have the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verses 10 through 13. This also hints toward a Pentecost rapture. My beloved spake and said unto me, Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. For lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land. The fig tree putteth forth her green figs, and the vines with the tender grape give a good smell. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. Now, there are many interesting day counts. Some of this may apply, some of it may not, but there's 200 days between Viera, November 2 and 3 of 2017, and the 500th anniversary of the Reformation, and Pentecost, May 21, 2018. 11 months from the summer solstice, that's in the northern hemisphere, June 21, 2017, to Pentecost. 9 months from the Great American Solar Eclipse, August 21st, to Pentecost. 8 months from Tishri 1, Feast of Trumpets, 5778, September 21, 2017, to Pentecost. 7 months from Rosh Chodesh, October 20, to Pentecost. 5 months from the winter solstice, December 21, 2017, to Pentecost. And 153 days from Hanukkah, day 1, December 19 or December 20, 2017, to Pentecost. Is that the last casting of the net, so to speak? Now, Christians call Pentecost by its Greek name. Pentecost comes from a word that means 50 days. That's because there were 50 days from the Sabbath that followed Passover to Shavuot, Pentecost. 50 days before May 21, 2018 is April 1, 2018, Passover, Day of Redemption, Lamb of Elohim slain, month 1, day 14, just as it should be. The midpoint on the timeline is December 1 or December 2 of 2021. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath, Matthew 24:20. The winter solstice is December 21. Sabbath is 2 days following on December 3rd and 4th. There will be a total solar eclipse on December 4th. That's right, a total solar eclipse on a Sabbath. I'm almost convinced that Scripture is hinting toward the midpoint date that given Jesus' words about the winter and the Sabbath. This eclipse may coincide with the 2 witnesses coming back to life 3.5 days after the midpoint, abomination of desolation, if they're killed on that day. 1260-day witness, Revelation 11:3, lends support to the 1290, then 1260, and it coincides with the midpoint date. The severe earthquake that follows may coincide with this eclipse as well. Scripture shows us that they are killed, verse 7, raised, verse 11, and that word, by the way, is anabino. They ascend. It's not harpazo. It's anabino. Anabino. It's the same word used describing Jesus' ascension, or that there was no danger involved. Resurrected saints are not in any danger at all. And then the earthquake, verse 13. From September 8, 2021, the beginning of the fall feast cycle, to this December 4, 2021 Sabbath eclipse is 88 days. 77 days from the September 17, September 18 atonement to the eclipse. 66 days from Simchat Torah, marking the feasts having passed, to the eclipse. And from the kingdom date on this timeline, July 28, to the eve of Sukkot, Tabernacles, October 6, 2025, is 70 days. It will be 4 months or 120 days from the death of Herod on the Hebrew calendar, January 21, 2018 to Pentecost 2018, and 60 days from the spring equinox, March 20, 2018 to Pentecost 2018. Now, I've talked about this remarkable number of 3168 in past videos, the numerical value of Lord Jesus Christ being 3168. 9/11, 2016. 9/11/2016 plus 3168 days inclusive equals May 14, 2025, the 77th year anniversary of Israel's rebirth. Any 9/11, no matter what the year, plus 3168 days, goes to the anniversary of Israel's rebirth, May 14. Now, 9/11, 3 BCE is Jesus' birthday according to the Hebrew calendar. So therefore, the numerical value of Lord Jesus Christ stands in between his birth and the date of Israel's rebirth. 120 days inclusive from Israel's 70th birthday, May 14, 2018, to trumpets, September 10, 2018. Now that only works in 2018 because it changes dates. It's on different dates in the following years. Feast of Trumpets isn't always on the same date. The 120-year mark since the first Zionist Congress, August 29, 1897, is August 29, 2017, 8 days after the August 21st eclipse. And as I pointed out many months ago, Israel's birthday is always May 14, and May 1433 AD is Jesus' historical ascension date. August 5, 70 AD, the temple burned, to August 5, 2017 is 1947 years, 47 days from August 5, 2017 to September 21, 2017, Feast of Trumpets. 8 years forward from the sign, the Feast of Trumpets occurs again on the 23rd of September 2025, but not until then. When we think about it, 2550 days, beginning with Pentecost and ending with Israel being 77, is pretty hard to dismiss as a possibility. The church age would end on the day that it began. Israel would see her Messiah return on the 77th anniversary of her rebirth, 7 days from her 70th birthday, May 14, 2018, to Pentecost, 7 days. 40 days from Holocaust Remembrance Day to Pentecost, and the tribulation beginning date being the summer solstice, the longest day, a day that marks the official changing of seasons. I was asked, but wasn't the first Pentecost all Jewish? Well, I believe those in the upper room on the first Pentecost were all Jews, but Pentecost is not a Jewish holiday, but a Jew-Gentile one, representing the church, not Israel. Sure, the rapture could occur on Abe Lincoln's birthday for all we know, but my guess is 2550 days forward from that date takes us nowhere. It makes all the sense in the world to me for God to see the 2017 fall feasts as a wrap-up leading into 2018. This Jubilee year combines both years, 2017 and 2018. All the signs and the relevant numbers associated with these end times don't become meaningless at all. Not when we look at it all as the conclusion, the wrap-up of all things related to the church age. The tribulation beginning date is very significant, I believe. I remain steadfast in my belief. It is 1290 and then 1260. Nevertheless, I always run the dates both ways, 1260, 1290, 1290, 1260, because there must be 2550 days somewhere from rapture to return. This is what so many fail to understand. All this talk about Leviticus 12, the Ark, Halloween, Vaera, goes nowhere after a 2550 or even a 2520 day count forward. But Pentecost 2018 is highly intriguing, and it does not affect the time frame. I think Christians want to go home so bad that they're trying to force fit the rapture into 2017. It doesn't have to be. If we went past the fall of 2018, I'd be again confused. But until then, I see everything on track with the birth pangs leading us into early 2018, with the fall of 2018 at the latest, or that all of the 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 120 year patterns still remain workable. When we clear November, I think people are going to be grasping at straws through December. As I stated in a recent video, I've ran 25 50-day counts on everything except my dog's birthday, and nothing seems to work but this. A delay would not be out of character for a God who is patient, not willing that any should perish, giving more than enough warning to his people that he is about to return. Folks, I believe the rapture ignites the fuse for catastrophic events to follow, or at least coincides with it. We are still in the beginning of birth pangs. We have been for a while, watching Damascus undergo horrific destruction, but not destroyed in one day. Whether this occurs before or after the rapture, only God knows. I expect it'll occur after we're gone. North Korea will play a role, most certainly, in end-time prophecy. How, we don't know. I wouldn't allow myself to get tangled up in all the what-ifs. I don't think God would have us do that. But if you just sit back and relax, close your eyes, and you consider just how far we have come from the 1950s, we can gain a lot of insight by looking at the broader picture. We tend to, like the frog in a pot of boiling water, we tend to become, climatized or, whatever to the temperature of our times. I never thought we would have made it to the year 2000. Now here we are 17 years beyond it. And in my humble opinion, only those who are blind fail to see that we are fastly approaching the end of the church age. I can now hear the sound of the rushing wind of Pentecost. I hope you can too. At least this is an idea worthy of consideration. This is Steve. I love you all. I truly do. Thanks for all of your love as well. Thanks for watching and continuing to support HeavenlySign2017.com.